The sound was deafening. A loud scream followed. Tires screeched. Metal crunched. Glass shattered like exploding ice. The world seemed to pause for 1 second, and then chaos broke loose. Obinna's heart jumped. He turned his head sharply in the direction of the noise, just in time to see it, a shiny black SUV spinning slowly after being slammed by a reckless yellow taxi. The SUV swerved off the road, hit the curb, and stopped with a hard thud. People began gathering but kept a cautious distance. "Chai! Sea accident!" someone shouted. Others gasped, but no one moved closer. From where he stood at the edge of the road, Obinna saw something that made his stomach twist. A heavily pregnant woman, her green gown stained with dust and blood, was lying motionless on the ground beside the SUV. She wasn't moving. "Help her now," a woman cried, holding her head. "Me? You want police to arrest me?" A man barked, stepping back. "Nobody touch anything," another warned. "Remember that boy they jailed last year for helping accident victim?" Obinna froze, his legs trembling. He looked at the woman again, her swollen belly, her dry lips, her blood-stained elbow, and worst of all, her eyes were closed. He remembered his mother's voice. "Never turn your back on someone in need, my son, no matter what." Without another thought, Obinna dashed across the road. "Make way!" he shouted. "She's dying!" People gasped. "Leave her. It's not your problem." But Obinna didn't listen. He bent beside the woman, his hands shaking. "Auntie, can you hear me?" No response. He gently slid his arm under her head and lifted her onto his lap. Her pulses low, her breathing barely there. From his dirty pocket, he brought out the bottled water he had just bought with his last money. He twisted it open and carefully poured some into her mouth. At first, nothing happened. Then her lips twitched. Her fingers curled slightly. Obinna leaned in closer. "Please don't die. Just try. Please." She coughed a sharp, painful sound and opened her eyes weakly. Her lips trembled. With what strength she had left, she pointed to the small black purse hanging off her arm. Obinna took it. She mouthed, "Phone. Sweetheart." He opened the purse and found a sleek iPhone. Her hands were cold, but she tried again. "Sweetheart." He unlocked the phone using Face ID and scrolled through the contacts. He found it. "Sweetheart." Obinna tapped the name and held the phone to his ear. The call connected. "Hello?" A deep, firm male voice answered. "Please, sir, she's hurt. Your wife, she's pregnant. There's been an accident. She told me to call you." "Where are you?" The man barked, suddenly alert. "Along Oshodi Expressway, beside." "I'm on my way." "Stay there." Obinna held the woman's hand. "He's coming, Ma. Please just hold on." Within minutes, the air changed. A convoy of black SUVs screeched to a halt. Men in black suits jumped out. An ambulance pulled up behind them. The man who stepped out was tall, muscular, dark-skinned, and wearing a white shirt tucked into navy trousers. His eyes scanned the crowd and locked on Obinna, holding the woman. "Adana!" he cried out, rushing forward. Obinna stood back, unsure. But Adana reached out and weakly pointed at him. "He helped me," she whispered. The man Jonathan Eze, one of the richest businessmen in Lagos, looked at the boy in tattered clothes, holding an empty bottle of water, with dirt on his feet and a spark of courage in his eyes. "You came with her," Jonathan said. It wasn't a question. "Yes, sir." "Then you're coming with us." As the ambulance doors shut, Obinna climbed in, still unsure of what was happening, but unable to leave her alone. The sirens wailed, speeding down the expressway toward the private hospital. Obinna sat by her side, still holding her hand. But as they drove off, something else began to happen. Adana clutched her stomach. She screamed. Water burst beneath her. The nurse looked up in panic. "She's in labor." And just like that, everything changed again. The ambulance lights flickered red and blue across Adana's pale face. Her body shook with every contraction. The nurse inside shouted into a walkie-talkie, "She's fully dilated. We may not make it to the delivery room in time." Obinna sat beside her, panic rising in his throat. He had never seen a woman in labor before, much less one whose life he'd just saved. He held her trembling hand tightly. "Breathe, Ma. Please breathe," he whispered. Adana's nails dug into his wrist. She groaned through clenched teeth. "Don't. Leave me." "I won't," he said, even though his heart was racing. "I promise." The ambulance screeched to a halt at the private hospital. Before the doors even fully opened, doctors and nurses in light blue scrubs rushed in with a stretcher. Obinna moved with them. Jonathan stepped out of his SUV and stormed into the hospital, his security men clearing the way. His heart pounded as he barked orders at the staff. "Get Dr. Kunle here now. Call the OB team. I want my wife safe, you hear me?" Inside the hospital, chaos unfolded. Adana was wheeled into the delivery room. Obinna stood just outside the door, blood still on his shirt, his eyes wide, his legs frozen in place. A nurse walked up to him. "You shouldn't be here." "But she told me not to leave her." The nurse hesitated, then nodded slowly. "Wait here. I'll come back." For the next 30 minutes, Obinna sat alone in the corridor, his fingers clasped tightly like he was praying. Nurses rushed past. Alarms beeped from inside the delivery room. The door never opened. Finally it did. A young nurse stepped out, her eyes wide with disbelief. She looked around and saw Obinna. A small smile spread across her face. "She's okay." And she had twins. 2 beautiful girls. Obinna stood up, stunned. "Twins?" "Yes, healthy and strong. Your madam wants to see you." He followed the nurse into the room. The first thing he saw was Adana exhausted, sweaty, glowing. She was lying on the bed, cradling 2 tiny newborns wrapped in pink blankets. Her face broke into a soft smile when she saw him. "You stayed," she whispered. Obinna smiled weakly. "Yes, Ma. I'm glad you're okay." Adana looked down at the babies. "Because of you, they're alive." At that moment, Jonathan walked in slowly. His eyes went from his wife to the babies and finally to Obinna. He stepped forward. "Obinna, right?" "Yes, sir." Jonathan reached out and shook his hand. Obinna flinched slightly. His hands were rough and stained from hard labor, but Jonathan didn't seem to care. "I owe you everything." Obinna didn't know what to say. He looked down, overwhelmed. Jonathan continued, "You don't know who we are. My wife. She's not just anybody. She's the head of the Adana Foundation. And me, I'm Jonathan Easy, CEO of Ezetech and Eze Properties." Obinna blinked. The names sounded familiar, very familiar. He had seen them on billboards, on buses, on the news. "You saved my whole world today," Jonathan said. "Please, come with us. Stay with us. Let us take care of you." I don't understand." "You will," Adana said, her eyes soft but serious. "But first, you need rest, a bath, a hot meal, and a room that isn't a bench in Oshodi Market." Tears welled up in Obinna's eyes, but he fought to keep them in. "I was just doing what my mother taught me. She said, always help people in need, no matter what." Jonathan nodded. "Your mother raised a remarkable boy." Later that night, after Obinna had eaten and taken a hot shower, he lay on a soft mattress in the guest room of the VIP hospital suite. He stared at the ceiling, struggling to believe what had happened in one day. The accident, the woman, the twins, a billionaire's wife. Now here he was. He sat up when someone knocked. It was Adana, slowly walking in with the help of a nurse, holding one of the babies. "I named them Ellie and Eliana," she said with a tired smile. "They'll grow up knowing the name Obinna, the boy who saved their lives." Obinna looked at the child in her arms. The baby opened her eyes bright, calm, full of innocence. "She looks like you," he said softly. "She owes her life to you," Adana replied. Then something unexpected happened. She looked at him long and deep. "Obinna, would you come home with us?" Obinna frowned, confused. "To help take care of the babies?" "No," she said gently. "To be a part of our family." He blinked. His throat tightened. "Ma? You don't have anyone?" We have everything. We want you to be our son." His hands trembled. He looked down at his torn shirt, the mud stains still under his fingernails. I don't deserve this." "Yes, you do," Obinna said. "You didn't know who I was, and still you gave everything to save me. That is exactly why you deserve this." At that moment, for the first time in a long while, Obinna felt safe. But the journey ahead was only just beginning. The sun rose over Lekki, its golden light spilling into the grand mansion of the Easy family like quiet music. Birds chirped from the tall mango trees. Security men patrolled the gates with practiced precision. Inside the house, silence ruled, but not for long. It had been 3 days since the accident. 3 days since Obinna saved a stranger on the street, who turned out to be Obinna Eze, the billionaire's wife. And now, Obinna, the boy who slept behind fruit stalls in Oshodi Marketoki, up in a queen-sized bed, wearing clean pajamas, his body covered with a warm blanket. For the first time in years, he hadn't slept with one eye open. But the peace didn't come without confusion. He sat up, stretched, and looked around the room again. Was this still real? A chandelier hung from the ceiling. There was an AC gently humming on the wall. The floor was so clean he could see his reflection in the tiles. A fresh school bag and new pair of sneakers sat near the wardrobe. A soft knock came. "Come in," he said, still unsure of the rules in such a house. It was Obinna, holding one of the twins in her arm and smiling. "Good morning, my son." Obinna sat up straighter. "Good morning, Ma. Please, call me Mummy, or at least Obinna." Obinna's heart skipped. "Mummy?" he echoed. "Yes, we've made arrangements. You're part of this family now, Obinna, not as a guest, as our son." Obinna's voice trembled. But I didn't do anything special. I just gave water. Anyone could have done that." Obinna walked in and sat beside him. "But no one else did. You were the only one who stopped when others ran. That alone tells me the kind of heart you have, and we won't let that go to waste." Obinna lowered his head. "What if your husband changes his mind?" Obinna chuckled softly. "Jonathan? He already sent his assistant to begin the adoption paperwork. You are family now." Tears welled in Obinna's eyes. He swallowed hard, not used to feeling this kind of warmth. He remembered sleeping under wooden tables in the market when it rained, how rats scurried by his legs at night, and how he ate leftover moi from buka tables. Now, he was being offered a name, a home, a future. "Mummy," he whispered for the first time. Obinna smiled deeply. "That's my son." Later that day, Obinna was shown around the house by their butler, Musa, who had worked for the Eze family for over 15 years. The compound had a library bigger than his old school's classroom. There was a private gym, an in-house clinic, and even a swimming pool. But the room that took his breath away was the study room, built like a mini university library. "You'll be studying here when school resumes," Musa said proudly. But the joy was quickly followed by a familiar pain. "Sir, I wasn't able to write WEC. I couldn't pay the fees, even though I studied night and day." "Don't worry," Musa replied with a knowing smile. "That has already been handled." The next week, Obinna was officially enrolled at Royal Prestige High School, one of the best private schools in Lagos. Tailors came to take his measurements. Uniforms, shoes, books, everything was brand new. He was nervous when he first arrived at school, surrounded by kids who came in SUVs and had bodyguards. Whispers filled the hallway as he passed. "Who's that? I heard the Azes adopted him." "From where?" "They say he used to hawk in the market. Crazy, right?" Obinna kept his head low and focused on his work. And as weeks passed, something amazing happened. He began to shine. In the first month, he topped the class in maths, English, and chemistry. Teachers took notice. His classmates stopped whispering and started listening when he spoke. He earned respect, not because of who adopted him, but because of what he could do with a pen and paper. One day after school, while they were waiting in the car, Ellie and Eliana's nanny handed the babies to him. As he held them, they giggled and touched his face. Their bond was already strong. He whispered to them, "I'll always be here for you. just like I was there that day. Obinna, sitting nearby, overheard him. Her eyes filled with tears. "You were made for this family," she said softly. But not everyone was happy about Obinna's new life. Somewhere in the city, one of Obinna's distant uncles, Chijioke, sat in a barber's shop, reading a blog post on his phone. Teenager saves billionaire's wife from accident, gets adopted by the Ease family. Chijioke spat to the side. "See this boy? Useless orphan. I remember when he came to beg for money. I chased him like goat. Now look at him." "Nah, you go Miss Road Ogre," the barber laughed. "If nah me, I go find am make. He help me small." But Chijioke's eyes narrowed. "That boy go come back one day. When he does, he go here am." Back at the mansion, Obinna and Jonathan invited Obinna to the dining room. The chef brought out jollof rice, grilled fish, and fresh fruit juice. "Obinna," Jonathan began, "we've spoken to a guidance counselor. You'll write your WAEC mock exams next month. After that, Neko and Jam, we want you to pursue whatever dream you have." Obinna sat quietly. "I want to be a doctor, sir." Jonathan leaned forward, proud. "Why?" Obinna looked at the twins across the room, then back at Obinna. "Because the day I poured water into Mummy's mouth, I thought she would die. I want to learn how to save people, not just by chance, but by skill." Obinna reached for his hand and squeezed it gently. "Then that's what you'll become." But just as the moment settled, the housekeeper ran into the dining room. "Sir, Ma, sorry to disturb you." "What is it?" Jonathan asked. "There's a woman at the gate. Says she's Obinna's aunt. She's causing a scene." Obinna stiffened, his stomach twisted into a knot. The past had finally knocked on the gate of his new life. Obinna stood still as the words echoed in his ears. "Your aunt is at the gate. She's causing a scene." Obinna rose to her feet immediately, sensing the change in his mood. "Obinna, are you all right?" He didn't answer at first. His heart was racing. That name aunt carried too many bitter memories. He remembered the nights he had begged at her doorstep, barefoot and starving, after his parents died, and how she told him coldly, "Go to the streets. That's where you belong." Jonathan nodded at his security chief. "Let's see who she is. Bring her in but respectfully." Minutes later, the grand double doors to the Easy mansion opened, and in walked a dark-skinned woman in a faded wrapper, carrying a big black handbag. She looked around the living room in awe, her eyes greedily scanning the marble floors and gold-accented decor. Her fake humility couldn't mask her mission. Obinna stood in a corner of the room, silent, hands clenched. "Ah, Obinna," the woman cried out dramatically, forcing tears. "My son, my blood, my own sister's child. I've been looking for you everywhere. I nearly fainted when I saw you on that blog. Oh, God is good." Obinna looked at her with blank eyes. "You're not my mother." She smiled nervously. "Don't say that. You were just a small boy then. I didn't have much. But blood is blood. Come, let me hug you." Obinna's voice rang out calmly but firmly. "That's close enough." The woman turned, surprised. "Good afternoon, Ma. I didn't mean no harm. I'm just here to see my boy. We're family." Jonathan stood, arms crossed. "Family only comes around when things are good. Where were you when he had nothing?" She switched tactics. "Sir, please. I know I wasn't there before, but I'm here now. I can help with anything you need. House chores, cooking, I can even help take care of the babies. Anything." Obinna stepped forward. "Do you remember the day I came to your house, barefoot, with wounds on my legs from the gutter? You looked at me and slammed the door." She swallowed hard. "Do you remember when I cried outside all night? You never opened that door. You told your neighbor I was a curse." Her lips trembled. "Obinna, I was confused. Life was hard." He stared at her, quiet but steady. "It was hard for me, too. But I never left someone to die like you left me." Silence filled the room. Obinna stepped beside him, holding one of the twins. "Obinna is safe here. He has a family now. We won't let anyone from his past try to use him." Jonathan added, "If you truly care, you will not bring chaos to his new life. We're not angry, but we don't forget." Security escorted her to the gate. She cried louder as she left, but her voice faded like background noise. Obinna turned to Adana. "I don't want revenge. I just want peace." "You have it," she said softly. "You've earned it." Weeks passed. Obinna sat for his exam sand, passed each one in flying colors. Every teacher who saw his result sheet had one thing to say: "This boy is a genius." He gained admission into the University of Ibadan to study medicine and surgery, his dream. And with every semester, he grew smarter, stronger, and even more humble. During holidays, he returned home to the easy mansion. Ellie and Eliana would run, or crawl, to him. He would carry them both and say, "My little angels, you were born on the day my life changed." Adana once asked him, "Do you ever wonder why it was you on that road that day?" Obinna smiled. "I don't know, but maybe God was watching. Maybe it was Mummy in heaven reminding me of her lesson: help anyone you can, even if no one else will." Then came another twist. It was during a youth leaders conference in Abuja. Obinna, now in his final year, had been selected to speak as one of Nigeria's most promising medical students. The crowd was massive. Bright lights, cameras, the press. Among the audience were ministers, top businessmen, and university heads. The entire hall fell silent as the young man stepped on stage in a neat black suit with calmness beyond his age. He began, "Years ago, I was a boy with no home, no food, and no future. I couldn't pay for my WAEC. I lived in Oshodi Market, carrying loads just to eat. But my mother once told me, never turn your back on someone in need, even if everyone else does. One day, I saw a woman lying unconscious on the road. A pregnant woman. Nobody wanted to help because they were scared. But I remembered my mother's words. I gave her water. I stayed with her. I made a call. That call changed my life. She turned out to be a billionaire's wife. And now, she's my mother. I didn't know who she was. I didn't help because of what I could gain. I helped because it was the right thing to do. If I've learned anything, it's this. Kindness is not weakness. It is the greatest power you can carry with you." The entire hall rose to its feet. The applause was thunderous. Adana, in the front row with the twins, wiped tears from her eyes. Jonathan stood beside her, arms crossed proudly. The same blogs that once posted the story of "Market Boy Saves Billionaire's Wife" now ran headlines like, "From Orphan to Doctor, the boy who gave water and gained the world." But the story wasn't over yet. Just after Obinna stepped off the stage, a familiar face appeared among the press team backstage. It was her, the taxi driver, the reckless man who caused the accident that changed everything. And he had something to say. Obinna froze. The man standing backstage wore the same deep scar across his left cheek, just like the driver from the accident years ago. His uniform had changed from a torn yellow taxi shirt to a plain grey kaftan, but Obinna recognized the eyes. The man walked toward him, cautiously, like someone unsure if they would be forgiven. "You're Obinna," he said quietly. I've been following your story." Obinna's security detail moved closer, but he raised a hand. "It's okay," he said. "Who are you?" The man hesitated, then lowered his gaze. "My name is Kabiru. I was the driver of the taxi that hit the SUV that day. The day you found her, your mother now." Obinna's heart pounded. You nearly killed her." Kabiru nodded shamefully. "I know. I panicked. I ran. I didn't know she was pregnant. I didn't know who she was. I was afraid. I had no license. No papers. I was struggling to feed my family. I wasn't even supposed to be driving that day." The pain of that moment returned to Obinna, the image of Adana lying on the ground, unconscious, the silence of the crowd, the fear that no one would help her. And this man was the reason for all of it. "So why are you here now?" Obinna asked sharply. Kabiru sighed. "Because I want to confess. And because I want to thank you. That day changed you. It saved her. But it also broke me. I haven't slept peacefully in 4 years. When I saw your story on the news, I cried. You helped her. You could have let her die. And Tu was the one who nearly killed her. He reached into his pocket and brought out a small brown envelope. This is a letter I've carried with me for 2 years. I didn't know where to send it, but I wanted to ask for forgiveness. Obinna didn't take the letter immediately. He looked at the man, really looked at him, not as a monster, but as a broken, tired man who made a terrible mistake. I forgave you, Obinna said softly, the moment I chose to help her. Kabiru looked up, eyes wide. You what? If I had held on to anger, I wouldn't be here today. I didn't help her to punish you. I helped her because it was right. That's what my mother taught me. Kabiru's eyes flooded with tears. He bent to the ground, kneeling. God bless you, Obinna. God bless you forever. Obinna helped him up. Don't kneel. Just live better. Make sure the next time you're given a chance to do good, you take it. Kabiru nodded. Then something else happened, an unexpected twist. Jonathan, who had been watching from a distance, stepped forward and said, We'll help you get proper driving certification and enroll you in our logistics academy. You'll earn an honest living, but only if you're serious. Kabiru dropped to his knees again, this time not from guilt, but gratitude. Months passed. Obinna completed his final year project and graduated as best medical student in the country. He stood at the top of his class, with distinction in surgery, internal medicine, and pediatrics. Universities across the world invited him to come for further studies, Harvard, Oxford, and Stanford among them. But Obinna decided to stay. To give back, to build something at home, he partnered with Adana's foundation and launched the Obinna Kindness Initiative scholarship and free health service program for orphans, street kids, and low-income families across Nigeria. He returned to Oshodi, this time not in worn-out slippers, but in a branded SUV. He didn't return to brag but to build. He set up a mobile clinic where market children could receive free healthcare. During one of his visits, a little boy ran up to him. Dirty shirt, barefoot, same way Obinna once was. Dr. Obinna, the boy shouted, I want to be like you. Obinna knelt, held his small hands, and smiled. Then start by being kind to everyone you meet. That's how I began. Years later, Ellie and Eliana grew into bright, beautiful young girls. Every school break, they'd sit on Obinna's lap and listen to him, tell the story how he found their mother on the road, gave her water, and stayed by her side when the world walked away. And that, he'd say, is how we all found each other. One night, while preparing to speak at another youth leadership event, Obinna sat by the balcony of the Eze family mansion. Adana joined him, holding a warm cup of tea. I still remember the day you called me Mummy for the first time, she said with a smile. And I still remember the first bottle of water I poured into your mouth, he replied. She laughed, and they sat in peaceful silence for a while, staring out into the city lights of Lagos. Then Adana spoke softly. Your mother would be proud. Obinna smiled. I hope I've made her proud, and I'll keep trying. Obinna would later say at a global youth summit in front of presidents and leaders, if you ever have the chance to help someone, even if they don't look important, even if no one else is watching, do it. That one moment could change your life forever. I'm living proof. I didn't save a billionaire's wife, I helped a woman in need. I didn't seek a reward, I acted with my heart, and that made all the difference. If you like this story, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel for more interesting stories.